Good afternoon, Tiki fam, from a very cold Wisconsin winter. I don't think it's been anywhere above the teens the last couple of weeks before wind chill. Just the other day it was negative 34 with the wind, and needless to say, it is very cold out here, which does not lend itself to a whole lot of car content, which is fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. But we do have the Century on the way. We do have the Mitsubishi Legnum VR4 Type S on the way, and with it is coming another buyer car in the Subaru Sambar Classic. So I can't wait to show everybody those. But in the interim, I think it's time to talk a little bit about what's on the horizon. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day about JDM importing and how they said it feels like everything's tailing off because the legends are here. So why is importing going to continue to grow? And I have to disagree that it's not going to tail off, and it is going to continue to grow because there are a great many things that we haven't even come close to legality yet. In fact, it made me start thinking, what's just on the horizon of 2001, 2002, and 2003, things that are going to be readily approachable in the next couple of months to years. What can we plan for? What can we get ready to see? So let's take a look at what those really cool cars are going to be. And I'll tell you this right now, I am not going to do all this outside. Heck no. All right, everyone, we're back here in the basement office where it's mostly warm. Certainly more so than outside, but it is time to talk about all those really cool cars that are coming up in just a little bit. So, I'm going to cut to voiceover. We're going to take a look at some pictures and some footage from when I have it, from our adventures into Japan, and let's talk about what's coming up. I think the best place to start this off would be with one of my favorite K cars. And if you've been watching my videos the last year or so with our trips through Japan, then you know full well I am obsessed with the Suzuki Alto Lapin. And not just because the name has a French derivative for the word rabbit, or that it's fully packed with rabbit badges inside and out. Okay, well, it is a lot of that, but ultimately it's still a Suzuki Alto underneath. It's still a fun, plucky K hatchback with a lot of style. I've heard this described as cottagecore before, and I cannot disagree because look at this thing. It comes in all kinds of pastel colors, or if you don't want to go with the whole cottagecore scene, there is an SS Turbo version, which definitely makes this thing quick and fun to drive. This was originally manufactured in January of 2002 and has continued right up until this day. So they're still being manufactured 24 years later, which is fantastic. Now, Mazda, eternally in a partnership with Suzuki, also sold this under a rebadged version of their mark called the Mazda Spiano. So this one's pretty wide-reaching, and it's definitely one you see all over Japan because it rules. And if you love weird Suzuki things, then boy oh boy, this one is definitely having its moment in the sun right now. This is the Suzuki Twin. The Twin is a two-seat K car that was originally built in January of 2003. So we do have 2 years on this guy, but look at it. This thing bleeds style from every one of its curvy, non-blobject corners. And with the introduction of the Pocket Bunny kit at this year's Tokyo Auto Salon, I think this one is going to get a ton more attention over the next 12 to 24 months because it's adorable, it's slow, it's got style for days. How can you not want to drive one of these things? Everywhere you take it, somebody is going to be breaking their neck trying to look at it because it's unexpected, it's happy, it's got a lot of anthropomorphic joy to it. I think that's something that a lot of modern cars are missing, and this one is going to be incredibly popular. Now, it is non-turbo and all automatic, and again, it's slow, but who cares when you've got this much style? Now, if you are looking for something with a little bit more performance in the K-car category, look no further than the Daihatsu Copen. This adorable, happy-faced little K convertible is just around the bend, with a manufacture date originally starting in June of 2002. So we do have a year and change on this one, but look at it. It is absolutely precious, and this has just been out of reach for so long, and I cannot cannot wait to get one of these here and drive it. It's something like a Honda Beat, but with that weirdness that Daihatsu is known for, and it's just one of these things that's going to make such a huge splash when it is legal. So, if you want one of these, the time to strike is in about a year's time. Okay, so what if you like the weirdness of Daihatsu, you like the performance of Daihatsu, but you have 3 friends that you want to bring with? Well, look no further than the Daihatsu Max. This is a revival of a badge that hadn't been used since the 70s, so seeing it pop up in its original production date of October of 2001 was certainly a surprise to a lot of people, especially when things like the Daihatsu Move and Naked already exist. But this is a nice little shortened hatch with room for 4 that also came turbocharged, and I think is cute as a button. Now this next one definitely has some controversy on the looks, but believe it or not, we're actually pretty familiar with the Toyota Will Sypha in the United States. They shared a platform with the Toyota Ist, which we'll talk about next, but they also shared a lot of themes with the Vitz, aka the Yaris in this country. So look at it. Take a look at that crazy headlight configuration. I personally love it. I love wacky, weird styles on any cars, and the Toyota Will Sypha definitely has that in spades. Now, this one was a very experimental vehicle for Toyota with the Will line. Obviously, we've seen the Will VI, which is now import legal already. We're going to have to wait until September of next year for this because the original manufacture date of September of 2002 gives us a little bit of a wait on this one, but I think it's going to be worth it for that Toyota reliability underneath all that weird exterior. Now I mentioned the Toyota Ist, and let me show it to you here because it's something you'll definitely recognize. Yep. We knew it in this country as the first generation Scion XA, and it shared a ton of different platforms with Toyota, all based around the Vitz front/Yaris platform. It was kind of a weird crossover SUV hatchback looking thing, but ultimately what they were there for was to fill a gap with a younger crowd that needed a small car to move around, but still be zippy enough to enjoy it thoroughly. And I think they pretty much succeeded with this because the XA did wonderfully in the United States, although it sputtered out in Japan because there was just so much choice in that market, it kind of sputtered out. Now, you'll recognize this one immediately too, because it was sold here as the Scion XB. Now, the Toyota BB, the JDM version of this, is already legal here, which is fine because it's a great little vehicle, and I keep seeing these pop up on Facebook Marketplace with well over 300,000 miles on them. But in Japan, we got this really nifty version that did not come to the United States called the BB Open Deck. Look at it. What is it? A utility vehicle, a ute, a tiny truck, a deck van? I'm not sure how to describe it, but what it is fun. Endless amounts of fun. And these guys were first manufactured in May of 2001, so these are months away from legality and definitely worth taking a look at. Now, in the era, Toyota wasn't the only one to have a fun little boxy thing ready for everybody to go adventuring with. Honda also had one called the Honda Mobilio Spike, and look at this thing. It is something between an XB, a step wagon, and a Honda Element, all kind of stretched out into these weird proportions. Now, this was primarily designed for safety, especially at a 50-mile-an-hour rear-end collision, but all things considered, these had 109 horsepower VTEC engines in them, and that's not bad at all. Certainly something that has a very unique profile, and they're fairly rare. So these guys were originally manufactured all the way back in December of 2001, so we are just about to get these completely legal, and it's definitely one to look for. And as long as we're on the subject of weird boxes, let's head back to Daihatsu real quick to talk about the Daihatsu Tanto. Now, this was originally manufactured in November of 2003 and is still being manufactured to this day. It was based on the Move platform, and likewise, it came with an either naturally aspirated or a turbocharged engine. So it's just this really weird, really tall, really interesting looking box that is still going on. It's truly amazing to see marks like this go on for more than 20 years in Japan, because it's not something that we ever got here, and it's not something we ever considered. I mean, most people don't even realize that a Daihatsu Tanto exists. The name, though, means a lot, or so much, which is derived from Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, or the Romanian kind of phrases for this. So check this thing out. We actually rented one when we were in Japan back in March, and we had a lot of fun with it. We got to the auction and back a couple of times, and it's a delight. but this one's got a little bit more than 2 years, but I think it's going to be worth it. This thing is definitely a get up and go kind of van. So wait, did Daihatsu discontinue the Move when it put out the Tonto? No, and that's the ironic thing, because much like the Tonto, the Daihatsu Move is still being made today. Now, the Daihatsu Move has been in production for a long time. It's been legal for a while, but the third generation originally came out in October of 2002. It's got much more of an of-the-era kind of blobjecty feel to it, and I think it's worth at least taking a look at with that new front end and that refreshed kind of style, those round, weird headlights. Definitely an interesting thing to see. And again, it's also naturally aspirated or turbocharged, depending on the model, and those huge taillights, you can't go wrong with those. Of course, Daihatsu wasn't the only one making weird little boxy K cars in the era. No. We have the Mitsubishi EK, which originally came out in 2001, specifically October. Now, if you're wondering what EK meant, this was a shortening of the phrase excellent K Jidosha. So if you're ever wondering why these things are so fun, they're literally called the excellent K car. I mean, you can't go wrong with them. Mitsubishi did get away with a lot of different things in the 90s, but we don't give them enough credit for the weird things they did in the early 2000s, and this one just underlines why. This one also came naturally aspirated or turbocharged, so certainly one that's not going to be very well known, but if you're into the weird stuff that is off the beaten path, the Mitsubishi EK is the car for you. We do have some familiar faces on the way, specifically starting with this Mazda RX-8. This was originally manufactured in Japan in February 2003, and of course we got this model here, but finding really nice, well-maintained examples of this car in the United States is getting to be more and more difficult by the day. So like other Japanese models that we really struggle to find here, importing one just might be your best bet to get a legendary little rotary car ready for driving here. Of course, just a few months before the RX-8, we get the Nissan Fairlady Z. Now, this is a July of 2002 car. We also got it here a little bit later called the 350Z. And again, trying to find one of these cars in the United States in really good shape is becoming nigh impossible. Between the tuner scene, between them just getting beat up by time, finding one of these cars in a really good drivable condition is getting to be a nigh impossible task. So it might just be worth your time to wait a little bit more than a year and import one of these guys for yourself to maintain it the way it is, or heck, tune it the way you want to, because these things are awesome, and I cannot wait to see more of the Japanese versions here in the United States when they're legal. Now, I can't just ignore the elephant in the room when it comes to Japanese performance cars just on the horizon, because the Suzuki Swift was originally released in September of 2004, which does make it 2.5 to 3 years off, especially because the version that we're all going to want is the Suzuki Swift Sport, which was released a year later in September of 2005. So we do have time on this, but if you've ever played any JDM racer game, whether it's Tokyo Extreme Racer to any of the Gran Turismo, you know this car. So I wanted to put it out there. It is coming up. It's unfortunately just a little too far off to really go into detail on. But hey, maybe if we do one of these videos next year, this will be front and center, because man, this is one of those crazy hot wagons that everybody's going to want, and they're still plentiful in Japan. In fact, you can still see a lot of these on the road in Japan from the era. So Suzuki Swift Sport, definitely one of those really cool cars that's right around the corner, just a little out of reach at this point. All right, so there we go. It's not an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination, but I figured it was a pretty good list of cars that are coming up in the next couple of years that are definitely worth taking a look at. So, in the event that you want to strike while the iron's hot on some of these guys, especially the 2001 and early 2002 cars, it might be the ideal time to start buying them now, getting them in storage, and getting them ready for export when the time is right. In fact, if you wanted to do a little bit of mechanical work before it leaves Japan, some tune-ups, extra wheels, maybe some undercoating or things along the line, then by all means, we can do that now while it's sitting in storage waiting to leave Japan. Might save you some extra money, but it'll definitely get you some attention with some of these cars, because it would feel wonderful to be the first in the United States to have one of these cars here legally. I fully expect on being one of, if not the first, to have a lap in here legally, and I don't think anyone can blame me for that one, because they're so cool. So What is your favorite from this list? Is there anything that I missed? By all means, if there's something that is coming out in the next 1 or 2 years, whether it's a brand new mark, whether it's a new generation of something, let me know in the comments below, because I would love to hear it, and I'd love to do more of these as time goes on, just to make sure that everybody is fully aware of all the crazy, wonderful, fun, happy things that are just around the corner in Japan. So, is importing from JDM on the way out? Is it declining? No, absolutely not. There is a bevy of wonderful things that are just ahead, ready for the taking, and I don't think we're going to be slowing down anytime soon. So there you have it. That's all I've got for you guys today, and be sure to stay tuned because we've got lots of cool cars on the way. All right, thanks everyone.